Darnell Washington is one of the most unique players in the entire 2023 NFL draft class, and I think he's going to end up being a really good player. But welcome to the channel. If you're new here, consider subscribing and dropping a like on the video if you do enjoy it. We are on the road to 5,000 subscribers, so if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that button. Darnell Washington has had a pretty uncommon career thus far, starting at Desert Pines High School in Las Vegas. He played on both sides of the ball in high school, tight end on offense and defensive end on the defensive side of the ball. And looking at his numbers, it actually seemed like he was a lot more productive on the defensive side, as he only had a career 193 yards in his high school career. On defense, however, he had 2 interceptions, 7 sacks, and 23 tackles for loss, so it seems like his impact was more on the defensive side of the ball early in his career in high school. But football was not the only sport that Darnell Washington played in his early days in high school. He also played basketball, and he had 11 points and 12 rebounds in his junior campaign, his best season of his career. So Washington really got a bit of experience in multiple different sports and positions, but ultimately ended up getting recruited as a tight end, where he received a 5-star rating and was nationally ranked as the 23rd best player in the country. So I think it's safe to assume, just based off of his high school production, that Washington's hype in recruitment was largely due to his freakish 6'7", 265-pound frame, with a combination of rare athleticism for that size. But nonetheless, basically the entire SEC would end up offering Washington, but he would choose to play for the University of Georgia. And I'm sure Washington loved his time with the Bulldogs, but I can't help but to wonder how much more Washington would be talked about if he went to a school that really needed another offensive threat or a tight end. The first 2 years of his career at Georgia, he didn't really get on the field a ton. He was mainly used as a blocker. He caught 17 passes in 2 years for over 300 yards and only 1 touchdown, but he got a few more opportunities this past year and put up his best season with 28 catches, 454 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But pretty much his entire career at Georgia, he was used as a rotational starter for their offense. He received the majority of the snaps in their 12 personnel or 2 tight end packages with teammate Brock Bowers, but most of the receiving targets in those type of packages went to Bowers because he's a little bit more polished as a receiving tight end. So having one of the best players in college football and Brock Bowers in the same tight end room as Washington definitely helped him become one of the best kept secrets in all of college football. But there were still many instances during his career where he went viral for pancaking a lineman or pushing a defender 25 yards down the field, or his effortless ability to break tackles and make some contested catches. So the talent and flashes is there with Washington, but I was curious to see how he tested at the combine, and boy did he put on a show. He officially measured in at 6'6.5" and 264 pounds. He's got 11-inch hands and 34 3/8-inch arms and an 83 3/4 wingspan, which is absolutely absurd. It's actually the biggest wingspan and second largest hands ever for a tight end at the NFL Combine, and you combine that with a 4.64 40 and you can see how special Washington is as a prospect. But aside from his physical attributes, what makes Washington such an intriguing player? I've seen a lot of people question his ability as a pass catcher in the NFL and have concerns about his college production. For starters, Washington may in all honesty be the best blocking tight end as soon as he gets drafted into the NFL. There's not many 6'7" players stepping onto a football field to begin with, and when you have the aggressiveness and power that Washington does, that's a recipe for a mauler in the run game and also somebody who can bolster pass protection as well. So as soon as you stick Washington into your offense, it's instantly going to get more physical and have better blocking, so that's a big advantage to have in a tight end to begin with. And then as far as a receiver, I think it's fair criticism to question Washington's route running ability and him being able to separate from defenders, but if I'm drafting him, why would I even really care about that? I mean, he's 6'7" with some of the largest arms we've ever seen in the NFL and has a 31-inch vertical. Like, does it really matter that much in the grand scheme of things if Washington can't separate as good as a Travis Kelce or George Kittle? That's not really his style. That's what makes him unique from those guys. He might not be able to shake a corner and create massive amounts of separation, but I guarantee you not many defenders are coming down with the ball if you throw it up one-on-one with Washington. Although his route tree may be limited, I still think that he brings value in the receiving game with seam routes, quick curls, or in routes, which is good enough to still be a top tight end in the league in my opinion. And when he does get the ball in space, it's almost like tackling Gronk. He's a violent runner and he's not going to blaze past someone or make a crazy juke move, but running through you or hurdling over you, we've seen him do it so many times in college, and he's going to be a force to bring down in the NFL, which I think adds to his game as a receiver as well. But basically, to put it all together and to sum up his game, Washington is a traditional inline tight end that's an amazing asset to have on running downs, and he's got crazy potential as a pass catcher as well due to his unique physical traits, his run after the catch ability, and I think when he's given more opportunities and targets that he didn't really receive at Georgia, he will continue to blossom as a really scary pass catcher down the road. The most popular player comparison I've seen for Washington is Mercedes Lewis, who's a similar size to Washington. He's been in the league for 17 years and counting now, which is crazy, but he's been mainly used as a blocking tight end. So his blocking ability and his size is really the main reason for the comparison. But I think Washington has more athleticism and upside than Lewis did in terms of a receiving threat. But the best situation for Washington is a team that runs a lot of play action. I think that'll give him the easiest transition to the NFL. Most mock drafts have him going late in the first or early second, but this year is extremely hard to judge on how high teams are on these tight ends because there's so many good ones. I mean, just to name a few, you have Michael Mayer, Dalton Kincaid, Luke Musgrave, Sam Laporta, and all of these guys are really good, so I'm going to be really curious to see where Washington goes. All it takes is one team to have him number one on their tight end board, and he can easily go in the first, but the way it looks to me right now is he becomes the third or fourth tight end off the board, which means early second, mid second is where I see Washington going. But if Washington does go in the first round, I think the best bet for the team that would take him will be the Cincinnati Bengals with pick number 28. The Bengals have had so many issues protecting Joe Burrow over the past couple of seasons since he's entered the league. Why not go out there and practically get another offensive lineman who can also be a receiving threat for him? He can help out that struggling offensive line and then provide another red zone threat for the team. And they also lost Hayden Hurst in free agency, so their current tight end one is Devin Asiasi. The Bengals met with arguably the top 4 tight ends in the draft while they were at Indianapolis for the combine. Those names included Michael Mayer, Dalton Kincaid, Darnell Washington, and Sam Laporta. So it's clear that the Bengals are doing their homework and they could be a massive player at the tight end position towards the end of the first round. There could be a really good option for Washington to step into and be a very good impact player for them right away. But again, we'll have to see if the Bengals for one will invest the type of capital in a tight end in the first round, or if they even like Washington over those other top guys. If he does slip to the second round, look for the Packers, the Titans, and the Dolphins to be big players for Washington. All three of them need a tight end really badly, and he fits all of the offenses very nicely. The Packers lost Robert Tonyan in free agency, and their current tight end one is Josiah DeGuara. The Miami Dolphins also lost their starting tight end in Mike Gesicki and even traded their backup tight end Hunter Long in the Jalen Ramsey trade. The Titans could look to pair Chig Nwankwo with another tight end, so the need and fit is there for multiple teams in the second round. But Darnell Washington is one of the most interesting tight end prospects I've seen in quite some time, and I'm really eager to see where he ends up. I think we're looking at a perennial Pro Bowl player given the right situation. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Let me know what you think about Darnell Washington and if you believe in his talent, and also what team you think will draft him next April. But anyway, thank you so much for watching the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one.